"Sign this before you board," my mom said, sliding the paper across the kitchen island. Her voice was calm, too calm. "It's just insurance." I was already running late for my flight, my bag half-zipped, the Uber waiting in the driveway, my laptop charger dangling from my shoulder like a snake. The form looked like standard legal jargon, just a liability release, maybe medical power of attorney. She'd done this before, always overly prepared, dramatic, just in case. So I signed it without reading, scrawled my name at the bottom, kissed her cheek, and mumbled something about calling her after I landed. 3 days later, I was in a hotel elevator in Seattle, halfway to a client dinner, when my phone vibrated. "You've been charged $48,700, Safari Experience X12. I didn't blink, didn't breathe, just stared at the screen like it had malfunctioned. 12 Safari tickets? My thumb fumbled to open my banking app. There it was. One single transaction, almost. 50 grand gone. The merchant listed Royal Horizon Safaris, South Africa. I hadn't left the country. Then Instagram lit up. My cousin Jenny, not exactly subtle, had posted a reel. Elephants in the distance, champagne flutes clinking in slow motion, a toast in a luxury lodge with the caption, "When family means everything, God blessed our safari dreams." My mom was there. My dad, too, laughing, dressed in safari beige like it was a catalog shoot. My sister, arms around her boyfriend, holding a glass of champagne like she'd earned it. And there I was, 7,000 miles away, watching it on my screen like a stranger. Then came the voicemail from Dad. "Well, technically, it's your credit now." No apology, no explanation, just that smug, low chuckle he always used when he thought he'd won. I didn't call. I didn't scream. I just texted back, "Cool, can't wait to not pay it." That same day, I called the bank, explained everything. Fraud, coercion, unauthorized use. They froze the card within hours. The booking was canceled. The trip unraveled, and that was just the first step. I didn't expect an apology. I didn't even expect a reply. But what I got was silence. No calls, no texts, just the familiar digital. Quiet that always came after they took something and hoped I wouldn't notice until it was too late. It wasn't even about the money at first. That part would come later, the part that still makes my blood boil. At the beginning, it was just disbelief, because this wasn't the first time, not even close. You don't wake up with a $48,700 charge and a phone full of champagne reels unless you've trained your family to believe it's okay. And I had. For years. It started with little things, groceries, last-minute flight changes. "Just help us this month, you know how slow Dad's freelance work is." "Emma lost her job again, can you float her car payment?" Every time it was just this once. Every time. I believed them because I wanted to, because I still thought I was the stable one, the one who didn't fall apart when the power got cut off, or the mortgage was overdue, or someone's dog needed surgery they couldn't afford. They called me dependable. They said I was the rock of the family. I thought it was love. It was just grooming. I checked the document I signed again, the one Mom had shoved into my hands before my trip. Buried in paragraph 4 and fine print, barely visible without zooming in, was a clause. I authorize the use of this account for emergency family expenses, including travel and booking fees, up to the amount deemed reasonable by the undersigned parents. Parents, not emergency contacts, not caretakers, owners. And somehow, I had given it to them. By the end of the week, I had more than just charges. I had receipts, I had screenshots, I had the group chat. It started as a mistake. My sister Emma forgot she still had me in the family chat thread on WhatsApp. I opened it one night before bed and felt my heart drop into my gut. Photo, Dad holding a champagne bottle mid-toast. Photo, Emma riding an elephant. Photo, Mom in designer sunglasses captioned, "Our best life." Then a message from Emma. "Thanks again. To our favorite little sponsor. He still thinks it was for Mom's birthday insurance, LOL. My name wasn't in it, but it didn't have to be. Then the comments followed. Cousin Mark. Classic, he'll probably cover the next one too. Uncle Richard. Tell him it was a data breach. He's too soft to press charges anyway. And then Dad. If he was smarter, he'd be here instead of in Seattle pretending to work. They weren't even hiding it. They didn't need to, because I had taught them I wouldn't fight back. But they forgot something. I don't fight fair. I called my bank, told them the form was signed under false pretenses. I emailed a lawyer I'd worked with once for a tenant dispute. She sent me a template, fraud affidavit, full reversal request, official cease and desist letter. The moment I clicked send, something inside me shifted. This wasn't just about canceling a safari. This was about taking back everything they thought was theirs. I posted a photo to Instagram. A single black screen, white text. Family doesn't mean free access. Not anymore. I got a DM within 5 minutes from my cousin Aaron. Are you okay? Did something happen? I didn't reply, because the next part wasn't for the DMs. The day after the post, Dad called. I let it ring out. Then Mom sent a long, rambling voice note. Her voice was tired, dramatic. I don't understand what you're trying to prove. We're family. Families help each other. This is what love looks like. I laughed out loud in my kitchen, because if this was love, I was done with it. But the part that still makes my skin crawl, they weren't done. At 2 a.m. that night, my phone vibrated again. It was an email, automated, confirming a change of address request on one of my backup credit cards. I hadn't filed anything. The new address, my parents' house. Then another alert, a password reset request on my health insurance account. That wasn't just greedy, that was identity theft. So I did what they never expected. I flew home, not to hug it out, to bury what was left. And I brought a hard drive with me, the one Dad forgot existed, the one he used to back up family files, the one I found tucked behind the washing machine when I visited last fall. It had everything: photos, receipts, tax files, audio recordings, and one folder called Do Not Share Safari. They wanted to talk. That's what the text said. Let's just meet. No drama. Maybe somewhere calm. A second message followed. We thought, maybe the zoo? The zoo. I stared at the message for a full minute before laughing loud in public, of course. Of course they'd want to meet in a place where you walk past cages and pretend you're better than the animals inside. They'd already used my money to stare at elephants in Africa. Might as well finish the performance by asking for forgiveness, near the monkeys. So I texted back, sure, I like animals. Let's make it full circle. Saturday, 2:14 p.m. I arrived early. There were shrieking kids, cotton candy, a peacock wandering like it owned the place. I sat on a bench near the lion enclosure and waited. 5 minutes later, they came into view. Dad with sunglasses, Mom quiet and puffy, Emma overdressed like she was on camera. They sat down across from me like we were about to feed ducks. Thanks for coming, Mom said, like this was a family picnic. Couldn't miss the chance to see wild creatures in their natural habitat, I said, sipping my iced coffee. Dad jumped in first. We didn't mean for it to go this far. You know how family is? I pulled out my phone and tapped a few times. Do you remember this? I said, and played a voice memo. Emma's voice, crystal clear. He still thinks it was insurance, LOL. Can't believe he didn't even check the paper. I tapped again. A second clip. Dad's voice. Well, technically it's his credit now. Mom flinched. You've been recording us? She asked, shocked. Nope, I said. Just pulled the audio from Emma's. Instagram stories before she deleted them. Rookie move. I reached into my backpack and pulled out a folder. Inside, printed safari booking confirmations, screenshots of their chat, the forged insurance document Mom slid under my pen, A spreadsheet of every transaction. 48,724. I laid it all out across the bench like food for vultures. This is the bill. You've got 10 days. Then the lawyer takes it. Dad crossed his arms, his voice rising. You're seriously doing this here? At the zoo? In front of strangers? Oh, I thought this place was fitting, I said, smiling tightly. You all ready? Went on safari once. I figured I'd let you see what a real predator looks like. Emma exploded. You're insane! You're acting like we murdered someone. It was money. Exactly, I cut in. My money, my name, my credit score, my liability. And you threw a champagne toast with it. You're blowing this out of proportion, Mom. Tried. I held up the contract she tricked me into signing. You forged a signature while I was running to catch a flight. You laughed about it. You posted elephants and emojis while I was eating dollar ramen in a hotel lobby. So no, I'm not blowing this out of proportion. I'm finally scaling it properly. Dad stood. You really want to go to war over this? Over some paperwork? No, I said, standing up too. I already fought my battle. You just didn't notice because I did it in silence. I took a step back and looked at them, sitting there among snack wrappers, strollers, and the distant sound of seals barking. You have 10 days, the bank's watching, the lawyer's waiting, and I'm done pretending you didn't know what you were doing. I started to walk away, then turned one last time. Behind them, a large zoo sign stood on a post. Please do not feed the animals. I nodded at it. Good advice. I wish I learned that sooner. I didn't look back. Not at them. Not at the past. Not at the lies. Because they brought me to a place full of cages, and I walked out the only one who was finally free. They didn't disappear. I thought after the zoo meeting they'd go quiet, that maybe, just maybe, something had finally clicked. You don't rob someone's life and expect them to keep the lights on for you. But silence lasted exactly 48 hours. On the third day, they struck back. Photo, my mother holding a glass of wine, seated on the couch. Caption, families make mistakes, but revenge isn't healing. Emma posted a black screen with white text. Betrayal always comes from those you love the most. Then my father, of course, a shaky selfie video in his truck. My son sold us out for money. Imagine your own son pressing charges. Comments off. Of course. This wasn't remorse. This was retaliation. I didn't answer. Didn't comment. I just shut down the last joint email account and pulled them off every remaining auto payment link to me. Within a few days, the calls started. Dad's number. Then Mom's. Then a lawyer who couldn't even pronounce my last name right. They weren't apologizing. They were threatening. One voicemail from Dad ended like this. If you think we're going to let this slide, you don't know what family is. We'll bounce back, but you'll be alone. And I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because alone was exactly what I'd been working toward for years. But they didn't stop. One night I got a DM from Uncle Ed, one of the quiet ones, the kind who says, I don't take sides, while still eating off the table built on my back. He wrote, Can we talk? Just us. No drama. I agreed, not because I believed in him, but because I wanted to hear what they said when there was no audience. We met at a quiet coffee shop near my new office. He sat down, took off his cap, and said nothing for a long time. Then, I didn't know they went that far. I thought it was just another family mess. I could have stepped in, but I didn't, and I'm sorry. I looked at him, then said slowly, Your silence wasn't neutral. It was complicity. You watched them drain me for years. When they finally crossed the line, you blinked and turned away. He nodded, didn't argue. But then came the line I knew was coming. Just don't make this a war. You'll destroy the family. And I replied, calm as ever. The family was destroyed the day you watched me drown and called it balance. That night, I opened my laptop. In the folder labeled Fraud Family, I now had over 120 files, screenshots of the group chat, the voice message, "It's your credit now," the Safari booking trail, the forged contract from the airport, audio of Mom saying, "You don't really read anything when you're rushing to catch a flight, do you?" I compiled it all, uploaded it to a Google Drive, and posted, "This is what family looks like when they think you won't fight back." The post went up at 10:03 a.m. 12 minutes later, the first call. 23 minutes later, a text from Mom. "Are you seriously trying to destroy us?" I didn't reply. 3 days later, Dad posted another video, this time in his truck again, with tearless tears. A line I'll never forget. He filed a report against his own father, his own blood. But the comments were different this time. "Your son paid for your safari. You called him a pig in a group chat. Stop pretending to be a victim. You treated him like a credit card, not like family." We all saw the screenshots. Sit down. Emma, of course, tried to go the poetic route. Sometimes the ones who save you are the ones who drown you. And that's when I knew she still didn't get it. In her mind, I was supposed to suffer, silently, because that's what family meant. No, not anymore. I moved forward, registered a new business, new P.O. box, new number, cut every tie. On the front door of my office, I mounted a plaque. No family discounts, no family debt. When one of my cousins messaged, "You really think you're better than us now?" I responded with one word, "Exactly." It came in 3 payments, $18,000, then $21,300, then $9,400. Each time the notification popped up, I just stared at it. No celebration, no grin, no forwarding it to a group chat. I just watched my account crawl back up to where it had been before the lies, before the safari, before the contract she slid under my pen. I didn't reply to any of them, not once. They were paying off a debt, but that's all they were doing. They weren't rebuilding trust. They weren't repairing anything. They were buying silence, and silence has no change policy. The same day the final wire came in, my phone vibrated. "Dad, guess that makes us even now. Maybe we can talk like humans again." Like humans? He stole from me, laughed about it, mocked me in a group chat, then watched me crawl through debt and doubt while he drank champagne on a safari I didn't even know I paid for. I blocked his number without hesitation, without sadness, just peace. An hour later, Mom sent a text. Just a broken heart emoji. She didn't say sorry. She didn't explain. She didn't even try. I stared at it, then turned off message previews for her contact entirely. Then came Emma. Just one word. "Please." Please what? Please forget the pig emoji she sent? Please ignore the fact that she tried to reroute my insurance to herself? Please forgive the safari photo dump that she posted while my card hemorrhaged? I muted her for good. No reply. Not even anger anymore. Just distance. And finally, relief. That night, I wrote something in my notes app. A line I'd heard in my head for days. They paid me back, but trust was never refundable. I read it out loud, then again. Then I opened the About Me section on my new website, for my business, for my future, for the version of me that never asked permission. And I pasted that line under the final paragraph. It's still there. It didn't fix everything, but it freed me. I no longer jumped when I heard a notification. I no longer calculated how many days until the next family emergency. I no longer confused love with obligation. I started eating at real restaurants, paid, cash, sat at a table alone, and didn't check my phone once. Not for likes, not for guilt, not for them. A month after the last payment, I got tagged in a post. Second cousin trying to go viral. Imagine turning on your whole family for a few grand. That was the caption. It had 3 likes. I didn't reply, didn't report, didn't even screenshot. I just blocked. Because I hadn't turned on my family. I just stopped turning off my worth. I cleaned house. Every shared Google Drive deleted. Old family Dropbox nuked. Shared bank logins closed. Every emergency fallback contact removed. VPN, 2-factor off, biometric locks. I wasn't paranoid. I was done being accessible. The final line, the one I hadn't crossed yet, my number. I went to a phone store midweek. No lines, just calm. The clerk asked what I needed. I want a new number, completely new. No transfers, no records. He paused. Want to keep your contact list? I smiled. No. I want to see who actually remembers. Me. 10 minutes later, I walked out. Clean. New SIM. New life. New silence. I drove to my office, parked, looked up at the glass door. Until that day, the plaque read, "Open by appointment." I'd ordered a new one last week. It had just arrived. I peeled the old one off. The new one said, "Built without borrowed blood." Screwed it in tight. I didn't cry, didn't shake, didn't call anyone to say, "Look what I did," because there was no one left to call. And that wasn't sad. That was freedom. Some weeks later, I met someone new, not romantically, a potential collaborator for a project. We were having coffee. They asked politely, "So, do you come from a big family?" I took a long sip, set the cup down, then said, "I used to. Now I just come from myself." They nodded. No follow-up. And I knew I was finally in the right room. One more thing. The day I received the final wire transfer, the $9,400, I got a notification in my banking app. Comment from Cinder. "We're sorry. Hope you can forgive us someday." I copied the message, pasted it into a note, then deleted it. Because if I'd ever needed proof that they didn't understand what they did, that message was it. They thought this was about money. It never was. It was about the theft of trust, the erasure of boundaries, the expectation that I'd bleed and smile and say, "Thank you." They paid me back. I never came back.